hello everyone. I think we can start. And now I would like to introduce you to Alessio Boceda. He is the founder of Startup Geeks, and he will present you this big community of Italian startuppers that he had been working on with Giulia D'Amato, which today is not here. But thank you very much, Alessio, for being here with us.
Hi, Clara. Hi, everyone, and thank you very much for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here, and I hope I'm able to share some nice insights and hopefully answer some good questions. Do you hear me well?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, should I just start?
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, I want to say hi also to Leonardo, which I saw here in the participants. Very nice to see you here back with Clara. So, hi everyone, I'm Alessio. And in this couple of minutes, I want to give you some insights about my path until here, before Startup Geeks and after, and hopefully give you some hints about some questions that you might want to ask, so that we make it a bit more interactive towards the end. So I studied management at a university, which is Bocconi University, and then I went abroad for the SEMS Master in ESADE in Barcelona, and then in St. Gallen. So I might have done a study path quite similar to some of you in management, hoping to go in the top management of some big company. And what I did is that I had an internship for 3 months in Amazon Web Services in Luxembourg, in which I went into the digital marketing topic. So Amazon Web Services is the cloud computing business of Amazon. And at that time, in 2014, it was starting to push the operations in Europe. So in Luxembourg, we were working with all the European countries, apart from Germany, France, and UK, who had already a local team, a local business. And we were doing digital marketing campaign mostly and events. Then I went back to study for the last year of university, and then I went to Bayersdorf in Hamburg to do a graduate program. So Bayersdorf is a cosmetic company, owner of Nivea and some other cosmetic brands. So I did a graduate program. It took 2 years, and it was a rotation in which I did some e-commerce, some digital marketing, both at global and local level. I was pretty happy in the beginning because I wanted to go into a big company and have a very nice CV for the job perspective. And then I realized that I was a bit stuck in the corporate environment. I realized that even if I always avoided the entrepreneurship courses at university, which I really suggested not to do, I realized that probably working in a big company was not for me, because I was finding myself very much into taking out new ideas and pushing for new projects. And I was always blocked by procurement topics and things like, pitching different providers to give you some new softwares. And that was really limiting for me. So after that, what happened that in honeymoon with Giulia, who is my co-founder and also my wife, we read a report from the European Union saying that Italy was in 2018, but also now, unfortunately, was 25th over 28 in terms of digital development. And one of the main reasons was the fact that many people in Italy are not digitally, let's say, advanced in terms of knowledge. And so we asked, what should we do? What can we do to improve maybe a little bit this number and pushing a bit more innovation and digital in Italy? What we did was when we went back to Hamburg after honeymoon, we started a blog, which had a terrible name, and was talking about digital marketing for about 1 month. And then we did the first big change, starting to interview startup founders to understand how they were doing digital marketing. And we got so excited about this kind of stories because we were learning a lot by interviewing them. And then we got quite addicted to that. And up until now, we interviewed 150 startup founders in Italy. The goal was always to grab their knowledge and share it with the people who were reading the interview or watching the interview when we started doing it doing it by video. Julia quit immediately her job, so she started from day one working on the project, which is something that I generally do not recommend. But I was still enough sober to take the job, to keep the job for 6 months. And so we went on. That she was working full-time day and night weekends, and I was working full-time in the company. And then when I was coming home and for the weekend, I was also working on the project. It went on like that for 6 months in 2018. And then at the end of January 2019, we left Hamburg to come back to Italy. We live in Mantova, and we started working full-time both on the project. So I quit my job. From there, it started that we were really thinking, okay, now we are doing interviews. In the beginning, we thought, okay, maybe we can just sell advertising before the beginning of the interview and monetize by that. And then we realized that it was way too difficult because you need to have a really big audience. So that was not an option. And we thought about how can we make this a business. And what we did is a validation process, meaning that we started really doing interviews with the founders after we turn off the cameras to understand what they were feeling when they were starting a business in terms of needs. So what do you need when you start a business? I need to exchange with other people so that they share with me some knowledge that I don't find on Google, because if I ask specific questions about entrepreneurship on Google, it's very difficult that I find a suitable answer. So I need to network with people. I need to study how to do 1,000 things and so on. And so we started having an idea about a membership community. So a premium community for which you pay to get into, to network, to learn, and to have some other benefits, but always in terms of networking and getting to know new people and getting to know how to do things thanks to the presence of professionals. So this was just the first, let's say, concrete idea about how to make it a business in the first step. What we did is then we did a questionnaire. We did a questionnaire, a validation questionnaire, and we spread it through our social channels. And it went to 250 people who answered, and we tried to understand if they really had the problem that also the startup founders told us. The answers were positive. So they were feeling the need of asking to people about how to do certain things, and they were not really finding a solution. After that, we filtered the answers, which is typical for a validation phase of a startup. And then we contacted about 25 people for which we asked an interview, like as we're doing right now, in which we were asking questions to go more in details about their needs. And then it went well for our feelings, for our perception. And then we prepared a launch of Startup Geeks Premium, which is the membership community. We launched it in a webinar, and on the 1st of July of 2019. And we were at least lucky to have 70 people subscribing, so paying for an annual membership, so that when they entered into a Slack workplace, which we still use to have the people exchange ideas and get to know each other, the workplace was not empty, but at least there were 70 people. Of course, if we were only able to sell, let's say, 5 membership, that would have been a really big issue, because you imagine that you enter in a party and there are 5 people and there is a huge room, and you ask, yeah, maybe it's better if I ask for a refund and go away because there's nothing to do in here. But at least that didn't happen. And so from there we started to try to grow the community and to propose this membership and to enrich it with webinars and content and discounts on softwares and many other things. We still went into a validation phase towards the end of the year last year, because many people were asking for more support. Because when you enter in a membership community, you don't really get the support one-to-one. It's not that we are consulting you, and it's not a path. So we don't really follow you. Just enter, and you need to ask questions and to watch the webinars and to make the best you can do, but it's not a path. Many people were asking for that. And after that, we did some interviews as well to understand if there were more people asking for that. And the end result was the Startup Builder, which is an online incubation program that we launched on the 1st of March this year, and for which right now we supported 142 projects in a 12-week program in which you mix learning, so videos and educational text, to mentorship, one-to-one and in group, so that you can structure your business idea in 12 weeks and then pitch to investors. And Clara was responsible for managing the whole program on this summer. So it went quite well. Now it's our focus for growth. In summer, we did fundraising. So we got investors invest in our company to help us build it. And we started working on building the team in May. We started building the team. Right now we are approximately 10, if I'm not wrong. And this became now the most complex part, because as soon as you are in 2 or 3, it's easy because you just talk to each other immediately and you are aligned. But as soon as you start growing, you need to start sharing, documenting what you do, because it's more difficult to stay aligned with the people. And then it's more difficult to motivate the people and keep them concentrated and so on. And so this is one of the topics that were not here before. And now it's one of the biggest focuses for us, because it's very important. We implemented OKR methodology, which is objectives and key results, which is a topic that if you still didn't get into, it's pretty interesting. I would recommend you this book, which is OKR Revolution. It's a very interesting way to set goals and stay aligned with the team. We started using it in October, and it's very, very interesting because the people are motivated by reaching ambitious goals. And so that's a way to keep the team united towards a goal, and also a way to keep them aligned, because in the OKR methodology, everyone knows each other's goals. So everything is transparent and you can see what are your peers willing to achieve in the next 3 months, and you can support them and exchange. And hopefully everyone can get to their goals. So we are here right now. As I said, we did a path which it might seem linear, as I explained. In reality, it was pretty difficult, with many different problems coming here and there and evolving. You see very much issues evolving as soon as you grow with a company. And how can I help you? If you want, we can talk and I can answer questions about validating a business idea, fundraising, managing a team, thinking about new solutions, corporate versus startup mindset and environment, goal setting, and anything I can be helpful. Just ask me some questions and I see what I can do. I see myself very much in your position. A couple of years ago, I had to experience the corporate environment, and I thought it was not the best for me. I think maybe some of you will also realize it, because I understand that in top universities as yours, everyone is very much attracted by management consulting or investment banking. But in the end, some of you might feel that you're just a small part of a big machine, that even if they take you out, almost nothing happens. They will find someone to replace you. But in a startup, and this is the call to action I want to give you, consider working in a startup, because when you go away from a startup, it's not easy to replace you, because when you are in 5 or 10, everyone is playing a crucial role in building and growing the company. And you have that the feeling of willingness to survive on one side, and really willingness to build something big and sustainable on the other side, that I think give you some good vibes in working in a startup compared to a corporate. I'm done. I hope I did not bore you. I hope I gave you some hints for questions, and I'm here for you.
Okay, thank you very much, Alessio. You can either turn on your microphone and ask the questions, or you can write them in the chat, and we will read them, and Alessio will answer to your questions.
Okay.
I have a question.
Oh, sorry.
So, Alessio, you talk about the big corporations and the example of the startups. What is the advice for companies that were a startup one time before and they are growing, but they are still not a big corporation, but they have to, you know, set processes and best practices and all those things that perhaps bigger companies have? What is the advice in order not to get, you know, the problems that the big corporation has, and you mentioned it?
To not plan too much, because you will realize that in a small company, in a startup, we try to plan still, but it's very difficult. We plan on a 3-4 months basis. I mean, of course, we have a yearly plan, but in terms of activities and things to do, we plan on a 3 to 4 months basis, because we need to be flexible and see how things go, and to be quick in changing things that don't work, which most of the times don't work. So this is one thing. The second one is keeping processes lean in terms of talking to people. If you have questions and problems, just reach out to the others and don't post it in a corporate forum or something like that. But for the rest, I mean, it's difficult to get to that level, because just the people are very few in the company, and everything is pretty fast. It's more likely to become the opposite side, which is a mess, which is honestly something that we always experience. I don't know, from the most stupid things. We open a folder and we see 1,000 different things that don't fit to each other, and say, guys, this is a mess. We need to have a meeting just to reorder some folders, which might not happen in a big company, because they tell you, if you download a business plan, you should put it in this folder. And the other one, the pitch, you should put it in the other folder. So I would not worry too much, because when you're starting a company, the most likelihood will be to get into more the mess trend, rather than too bureaucratic.
Thank you.
If I can, I also have a short question, and I will ask, okay, so we know that the biggest risk for a founder is to develop a product that no one needs. So how do you think it's better to structure a questionnaire to understand the real needs of the market?
Mm-hmm. This is a very big point, because yeah, the number one failure reason is that you launch something that nobody wants. And the way to avoid this is through the validation method, meaning before building anything or before creating a service, try to understand if people are really willing to buy it, even if you don't have it, even if you didn't build it. How to do that? As you said, from the first step is generally a questionnaire. In the questionnaire, you have different parts. So the questionnaire is the first questionnaire that you will build is just to understand if the people have the problem. So you will never talk about the solution. You just ask about past questions in which you ask people if they were experiencing a specific problem in a specific situation. So generally, the structure of the questionnaire is an introduction in which you explain why the questionnaire should be relevant to the people. So, hi, I am Alessio. I'm exploring a solution in the area of, I don't know, medical devices. You don't tell the solution. And you might be very useful and helpful to solve this, to help me build this idea if you answer the question, because I want to solve this kind of problem. And then you start the questionnaire generally with some demographic question in which you ask for, I don't know, the age, the gender, the whatever might be relevant for you. If the salary might be a relevant factor, you can ask the salary. If the location in which they live, you can ask the location, and so on. So you have 4 to 5 to 6 demographic questions. And then you start with the core of the questionnaire, which is questions which are turned into the past and aimed at understanding how the people were experiencing a specific problem. For example, have you ever found yourself in a situation in which you experienced this? Yes or no? If they say no, maybe they never had the problem. So you can go on with the questionnaire, but in the end, you will filter them out because they might not be relevant for you. If they answer yes, you go deeper into understanding how they behaved and which kind of solution they looked for. But the very important thing is to help them think into the past, because we are not very good in thinking about how we would behave in a specific situation in the future. You should never ask, would you buy something which does this and that is amazing, or how much would you pay for that? Because for that we have other tools, which is a landing page, which is a minimum viable product. But for the questionnaire, yeah, this is the standard structure. And then generally you have a call to action, which is leaving you the email if they want to, for example, be the first to get to know about the project when it's live or something like that. So that when you filter the answers, you select the ones that are more relevant to you. And if they left you the email, which is super important, you can contact them for a validation interview, which you do face-to-face. And that is the next step. And then if it goes well, you go to the creation of a landing page in which you fake that you have a product, even if you still didn't build it. And you see how the people react when they face the solution, which is the best way to really see how they behave, because they will not tell you by voice, just saying, yeah, I would buy it or I will not buy it, because we're not good in thinking about the future. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, it was really useful. Thank you.
I've got another question. Thank you very much for the speech. I wanted to ask, how do you measure success in Startup Geeks? Like, besides growing the network, do you have any other measures to see if you are succeeding on your goals or not?
We have different goals. So with the OKR methodology, which is the one I mentioned before, this book, you have a company goal, which is generally 2 to 3 goals, in which one of them is revenues, if you're already in the market, because of course, to survive, you need to have revenues. And the other ones are different kinds of goals, which might be, I don't know, hire 5 people in the development team or other goals. And then according to that, you create the goals for specific teams or specific people, so that everyone has their own goal. For example, some of the goals for us are about social media growth, because social media are relevant to us first to get to know the people that might want to consider buying the services that we offer. And on the other side, because we sell advertising space to companies that sell services to startups. And then we have goals about software development. So deadlines in terms of when should we release a specific platform feature. And then we have goals about different topics about brand awareness, about PR publications, about speeches, about getting to know people that we think that might help us. And so the important thing is to have a big vision, let's say, goals in the middle term, meaning 1 year, 1 to 3 years, but the 3 years are generally quite random for a startup. Not random, but very aspirational. And the 1 year goal is very concrete. And then by 3 months, in 3 months, through the OKR methodology, you try to put goals to everything that you can measure and that you think it's relevant, so that the people need have a clear vision about what they need to achieve, and everyone feel on one side responsible and on the other side important to build every brick that can allow you to build the palace in the end.
Okay, we have also a question in the chat made by Sarah. So what would you suggest us in order to not be replaceable today?
To think always to give something more compared to what they ask you to give. So if they ask you to, I don't know, create something, try to create that thing and then try to create a bit more, so that the people see that you don't think until where they push you to think, but you think a bit far away, and you can give more ideas, more insights. You are proactive when you find yourself, maybe this afternoon, I don't really have much to do. Okay, I think about some ways to grow. I put a checklist and I send it to my manager, or just other ideas to show that you're proactive and you try to do something more than what is asked to you. Honestly, for the people I saw in big companies, it's really, really simple because nobody does it. It's really simple. They ask you X, try to do X plus 1. Almost nobody does it. And you are the one that should do it, because in the end, as soon as you leave university, you will want to grow and get a better salary and get a better senior brand manager, so on. And it's just a way to say, okay, they ask me this and I do this plus something, or I do this faster, but with the same quality that is expected. This is also a way to avoid being replaceable.
Okay, perfect, thank you. And then I have another question. So you said that Julia, the other co-founder of Startup Geeks, started working directly on the project while you waited a bit. And so in general, for example, let's say I have an idea in mind and I'll start working on it. After what time after like what kind of achievements and how much time should I start working full time on the project and stop, for example, my studies or the work that I'm doing right now? What are the specific achievements that once maybe we reach a specific thing that we could work full time on the project? Okay,
very difficult question because it's very subjective.
Yes, I know.
What I try to answer is try to do the validation phase. So try to understand if the idea that you have is really targeting a problem which is relevant to the people. And the best would be when you start selling something in which you see that there is one guy that put in the credit card number and bought your product, and so you think, okay, this might work. I mean, the entrepreneurial path is just a race against risk and time for the fact that the money is limited, so that you don't need you cannot burn them everything before having more or before having revenues that cover your costs. Also, one of the reasons that startup fail is that they just finish cash flow. So they don't have any more money in the bank. Even if they are selling well, they have more costs. And when you don't have more money, you just close. But the main point is as soon as you think that the risk that you're facing is tolerable from your perspective, then it's fine. There are no really big KPIs. We quit our job before any revenues, before having an idea about how to monetize it. On one side, it was I would say stupid because we didn't really know the process. So what we are now teaching through the Startup Builder, which is the online incubator that we run right now, it took us 9 months, and we try to force people to do it in 12 weeks, and they do it. So we were really slow. But the thing is, it's just a matter of risk. How much risk are you willing to get? And just do the calculations. I mean, you should expect at least not to have any kind of salary for more than 1 year. Just do your calculations and consider, okay, what do I spend for rent and living and so on? You should have that money in the bank, because otherwise you might take stupid decisions for the fact that you have the urgency to monetize, because otherwise you don't have any more money privately, which is always the best, the worst case scenario. It's just a matter of risk. Do your calculations, see how much risk you can take. And if you have enough money in your bank to say, okay, I can stay 1 year without any kind of revenues, and if it goes badly, what is the worst thing you can do? Maybe you lost some money, okay, fine, but you can still always go find another job, and you developed a lot more skills than staying 1 year into a big company. This I can assure you. And also becoming an entrepreneur will also allow you to be able to sell your skills in a much better way, because every day you need to sell your idea, your product, convincing people to buy it, convincing suppliers to give you a discount on everything because you can't every euro. And so there is no specific answer, but it's just about how much risk you want to take. But as soon as you finish the validation, that for me would be the best moment to step. After you do all the calculations in terms of competition, size of the market, validation, you have people that are interested to your product, you have a business plan, you have a pitch, you have everything to go to a bank, or better to go to investors and ask for money. And if you have some money in your bank, then it's the best moment to jump. Otherwise, you should maybe wait and do a bit more of the homework.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. I don't know if maybe we have the time for one last question, if someone has one last question. Otherwise,
I have, if I can. Hi, Alessio. I'm Elena. Nice to meet you. And thank you for sharing your experience. It was really interesting. I wanted to know, what is the thing that founders search the most in asking to participate, to be member of your community of Startup Geeks? Is it more like the help in fundraising, or more the networking part? What is the thing that they are searching the most?
I would say it's even simpler, which is just finding questions much faster, because this allows you to take decisions faster and to make less mistakes. In the beginning, everyone goes through the same process, more or less, from different industries and business models and so on. But unless you're trying to, I don't know, find a solution for going to Mars, which is not really a startup in, let's say, a standard way, which is super ambitious, then it's maybe a different topic. But otherwise, everyone is going through the same process, understanding if there is a problem to work on, understanding how to incorporate the company, how to fundraise, how to get money, how to define the price of your service, how to hire, how to retain people, and so on. And what they look for is just finding people that can answer their questions faster, so that they take decisions quicker and make less mistakes, hopefully.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Alessio, for all the valuable insights. And thank you, everyone, for being here today.
Thank you, Clara.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.